Here we are at the bottom of page 1. We're in section 4.1, bottom of page 1 for the notes. And we're going to start, again, we're at the beginning of a chapter, beginning of the first section, so we're starting with some fairly basic information, some vocabulary, some basic steps that we're going to then build on as we go through this chapter. So the instructions say to plot the given point in a rectangular coordinate system. That's one way to describe when you draw the two axes, x, just like we've been used to on the number line. Okay, this is our x, our y is the up and down. That's the new, kind of the second dimension that we've added here, the new number line that goes up and down to give it two dimensions here, an address of an x value and a y value. So these are your y values this direction. And this, what we've created then when we put those two number lines together like that, is a rectangular coordinate system. It's also known as the Cartesian coordinate system or Cartesian graphing or something like that. It's named after the mathematician Rene Descartes. He's considered the founding father of the notation of this, the coordinate system using the two number lines together to be able to represent the relationship of a linear equation. So we'll do a couple together and then there'll be one for you to try. If this is new to you, or if you've struggled with keeping straight which one's x, which one's y, then every time until it becomes second nature to you, identify it, label it. So we're trying to plot the point 5, 3. We're also going to indicate in which quadrant each point lies here. So identify which is the x and which is the y until you get really, really good at this. Say x comes first, y comes second. It's always alphabetical order. The x is always going to be listed first. In fact, you're going to treat that as the first number that you act on to be able to plot it as well. So, and as you're looking at this, you might also identify what the sign is. It's a positive 5 and a positive 3. Okay, so this first one, this is your x coordinate, this is your y coordinate. So we're going to go 5 to the right because it's positive. Then, from that point, we're going to go up 3, up because it's positive, and up because it's the y coordinate. So your x coordinate is your left or right, negative for left, positive for right. Your y coordinate is your up or down, positive for up, negative for down. So we start at 0, 0, your origin, always start at 0, 0, and we are going to go to the right 5. From there, then we go up 3, and that is the point that we call 5, 3. X is 5, y is 3. Okay, and we're writing the point. We always put it in parentheses, and 5, 3. Okay, that's a way to show a coordinate point. And where did that land? That landed in quadrant 1. Okay. So again, always alphabetical order. If you have struggled with this in the past, trying to remember which one's x, which one's y, then train yourself. Okay, use this opportunity to train the right habit into you so that you don't ever have to wonder again. You've done it so many times, the same way every time, it's become a habit for you. Okay, don't be afraid to train yourself. Push yourself to memorize something. It will make you stronger to do that kind of thing. Okay, in the meantime, write it out for yourself until you're absolutely sure you've got it memorized. X is the first one, y is the second one. Okay? As I see this is a positive 1 and a negative 5, that means I'm going to go 1 to the right because it's positive. Then, from that spot, I'm going to go down 5. Why down? Because it's negative. So here I am at 0, 0, I go 1, negative 5, 1 to the right, and then down 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that is the point 1, negative 5. And that ended up in quadrant 4. 4. First, second, third, fourth. Start in the upper right, positive, positive, and go counterclockwise till you count. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this one is in quadrant 4. Roman numerals. IV means 4. Let's try one more together. Decimals, fractions, all okay. Those are all numbers on those number lines, so you can find them. You may have to estimate a little bit. Halves are pretty easy to still accurately place on a graph, so just be careful in what you're doing here. If you want to use graph paper, you certainly can. Drawing it on your own, just be real careful to be as accurate as you can so that you can kind of see what's happening. As we get towards graphing lines, it's going to be real critical that you have evenly spaced markers. Okay, so, and if you need graph paper, there's lots of resources online where you can print graph paper off for yourself. Okay, or you can buy a whole pad of it at a store. Rulers work great too if you need to just draw one on your own. Just be accurate with your spacing. Okay, so number 8, let's do this one together. Again, we're training ourselves to remind ourselves that x is the first value, y is the second value. I've got a negative 3.5 as my x. I've got a positive 6 as my y. When there's no sign, you can assume that it's positive. And that's telling me that I want to go 3.5 to the left this time. Y left because it's negative. After that, and that's starting at the origin, 0, 0. Then from that negative 3.5, I will go up 6. Up because it's positive. Okay, and that's my y value. So my y value tells me my up or down. So here I'm at the origin. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3.5 to the left, negative 3.5, and then 6 up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there is my negative 3.5, comma 6, and that is in the 1, 2 second quadrant, in quadrant 2. Okay? So your chance here to try one, number 6. Pause the video, come back when you've plotted it. Remember, we're looking for both where it is on the graph as well as what quadrant it is in. Okay, so the answer for the try problem number 6, it should be at negative 1, negative 3. So there's the point negative 1, negative 3, and that is in the third quadrant, which we would write as Roman numeral 3. Okay, so what if they have zeros involved? Okay, in other words, one of the directions you don't go anywhere. Where does that land us? Well, just because zeros are involved doesn't mean we change the steps that we've all been doing. This is your x, 0. This is your y, negative 5. So I've got 0. It's neither positive nor negative. I've got a negative 5 for your y value. So treat it just like you would before. Before we had a number that we would go to the left or right. So when it's just 0, we will stay put. Okay, we don't go anywhere. Then we'll go down 5. Down because it's a negative. So we stay put on the x. We do not go left or right. And then we'll go down 5. So what does that look like? Here we are, and then we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there I am at 0, negative 5. Okay, point 0, negative 5. Now, what quadrant does that land in? Well, it lands right in between quadrant 3 and quadrant 4. What you would say is it landed on the x-axis. I'm sorry, the y-axis. The y-axis is our up and down. Sorry about that. Okay. Let's look at this next one here, number 22. What if you have the 0 in the y position? Well, same idea. This is, the first one is still your x, second one is still your y. This first one is a negative 5 halves, that's our x value. Then we have a 0 for our y value. So this says that we are going to go left, so 5 halves or 2.5 if you want to think of it, to the left, y left because it's negative. Then this tells us how far to go up or down. We don't, we just stay put. Okay, so for this one, you're going to start at the 0, 0. You're going to go 5 halves to the left. So if you think of that in terms of 5 halves, there's 1 half, 2 halves, 3 halves, 4 halves, 5 halves, or 2.5, 1, 2, 2.5, same place. And then we stay put. There's no y movement, so it's just -5/2, comma, 0. What quadrant is that one in? Well, 1, 2, 3. It's landing on the axis in between 2 and 3, so we will describe it as being on that x-axis. Okay, so hopefully that will help you there on that one. We'll see you on page 2. Good job.